Well, welcome everybody to another edition of WCW 2004 here in TEW 2020, as it's time for the first show after British Assault us being rode on the Fall Brawl. But before we do that, one last call for the W 2004 Mid-Year Awards. I've probably done this for a little too long, but obviously just with the little gap I had in actually getting stuff up, I'm sure people, need time to double check stuff or just watch the videos again. So, but this will be the end of it. I'll go over the results during the first September show. Again, got 8 responses, which again, not bad considering. It's been a few months since I've had the previous part of the mid-year report stuff up for the most part. So, I can't exactly blame people if they don't remember what I did in February or anything. But again, go through the award, got Wrestler of the Mid-Year, Face of the Mid-Year, Heel of the Mid-Year, Moment of the Year, Mid-Year, Tag Team of the Mid-Year, Women's Wrestler of the Mid-Year, Character, and Match. And then, what do you want to see more of, what do you see less of, and other comments. So yeah, there you go. Again, nothing too complicated here. Just, do the link in the description and just, fill out who you've been enjoying and, what you haven't been enjoying. But I'll be back in a second with our last Nitro in the UK, live from Birmingham, England. So I'll be back with that in just a moment. So we start out the show at Nitro with Sean O'Haire coming out. You're still your WCW World Champion, comes out to the ring to the cheers of the crowd. He says, right here, I'm still the World Heavyweight Champion. And the shock to the system is continuing. Because week after week, month after month, year after year, I'm working to rise up the ranks. And this proves that every day in the gym, every night out on the road, every hit I've taken, every bruise I've had, every injury is worth it. Because I'm here in front of you fans to prove I'm the best in the world. Now, the number one contender is Eddy Guerrero. And Eddie, you're one of the best ever. You're former world champion, but you've had your time. I look forward to facing you and proving it's my time now, and this championship proves I'm the best in the world without any question about it. Cue Eddy's music as he comes out, again to like a 95% face pop, but he's been a little more aggressive, so there's some booze, and also he's coming out to face, one of the top faces, so there's probably gonna be a bit of a mixed reaction. And he comes out and says, O'Haire, buddy, let me remind you, I say the Booker got lucky to win that title, and I got distracted with my own business. The reason you're world champ right now is I never got my rematch. So Fall Brawl, a year after I made my return to the World Championship Wrestling ring, I'll become world champion, Helms, because Guerrero family values are you do anything you can to become world champion, prove you're the best in the world. Yes, I know, O'Haire fires back. I know, like cheat seal, all that, but Eddie, as far as I'm concerned, this is your rematch, even though I'm not Booker. And after you're hit with Widowmaker, you'll have to admit the future is now, and you'll have to, and that it's time for men like me at top of the promotion, not men like you. And then, Jeff Jarrett's music hits, and he comes out and says, wait. You two are flopping your mouths about how you deserve to be world champion, get title shots and all that. And slap nuts, I just needed RVD, the previous number one contender last night, and what have I heard about any title shots for me? Nothing. And said Guerrero, who went off and disappeared for months, gets a title shot because old ATM Eric didn't want to ruin matches. The reality is, and then Eddie fires back, the reality is, Jarrett, when there's not a former video star clerk in charge, Holmes, nobody gives a damn about you. Ooh, shoot comments. And then O'Haire says, for once, I got it weird that here. Yeah, you beat Van Dam last night, but you had to use every trick in the book to do it. I'm happy to kick your ass any time, but first I gotta deal with people who actually deserve their title shots. And then pop for that, and then Billy Kidman's music comes out, and he also comes out to booze the crowd. Says, earning title shots? Earning title shots? Come on. It's hilarious that WCW's Gold Boy talks about earning anything. Men like me and the rest of the Triumvirate have been earning things month after month, year after year, with nothing to show for it. Only people who left the company for greener pastures and then come back, or pet projects given chances we've never had. Last night, I beat a former world champion, and just like Jarrett, I've got nothing from the company, and the only thing I hear about is a guy like Guerrero getting the title shot, when I'm the best cruiserweight of my era. Eddie says, You've had your chances, Billy, and the rest of your group has too. It's not my fault Awesome can't back it up when he's not attacking from people behind Holmes. And then, the arguments continue, and eventually a main event match of O'Haire and Eddie team up to face on Kidman Jarrett is set up for later show. So this gets 100. Really good stuff. Obviously, all these guys are quite over. They're all good to great promos, and there you go. Then we come back from commercial for our first match of the evening, as the announcers, set up this, this feud is continuing between, the fan favorites of women's division and this new 3-1 heel group of Lizzie Dumas, Angel Fox, and Lexi James. And then in the match itself, in a poor match, Natty Neidhart, Celine Cartier, and Jordan Cole defeats Lizzie Dumas, Angel Fox, and Lexi James in 7:32 when Jordan Cole pins Lexi James. It says, okay, after using foreign objects. So what actually happens here is, back and forth match. Lizzie, does her moonsault of doom. Angel does some, brawling with the race members. Celine does some of her power moves. Natty tries to take people in the sharpshooter. Back and forth little match. Things eventually break down. Trisha comes out to the ring to distract, and it's just enough for Cole to basically able to roll up Lexi from behind and get the 1-2-3 on the former WCW Women's World Champion right in the middle of the ring. So this gets a 63 overall. Jordan Cole gets a 46. Celine Cartier gets a 58. Natty Neidhart gets a 36. Lexi James gets a 58. Angel Fox gets a 48, and Lizzie Dumas gets a 68. This probably help, at least for Lizzie, the fact that she's a former WF girl. Rest of the women, not quite as over as you think, just because I guess how the game does popularity in other regions. I don't know, weird stuff. Anyway, solid stuff, and then of course, the fighting just continues as as Lexi's upset, so she starts brawling with Natty. Trisha comes in and makes the save, and eventually, things break down. 4 days officials break everything apart as the announcers put over, this chaos in the women's division is just getting more and more, and there's going to have to be something to figure out, who's actually deserves, who's actually in charge here. As this gets a 62. Good, solid stuff. And hey, you got multiple women's stories. Imagine that. And then we go backstage where Bischoff is backstage, looking around, and then he, finally sees Jamie Knoble staying behind Emmy Sable, and he says, just the man you want to see. And Noble's like, oh, so you want to congratulate me? And I was like, what the hell? No. Look, Bill Goldberg is not my best buddy or my best friend. But you know what Bill Goldberg is? Bill Goldberg is money. He's a draw. And you guys just took him out for at least a couple weeks after attacking last night. So, you know what I think? I think, Knoble, you deserve a match tonight against Jeff Hardy, and hopefully he'll give you a lesson in why you don't mess with the business and why you don't mess with the Golden Goose. And hey, if you manage to win, then maybe I'll be impressed with you. But for now, I hope you get your butt kicked, Knoble. And Noble's upset about that, but hey, we got a match later on, Jeff Hardy versus Jamie Knoble. As this gets an 80. Solid stuff, as Bischoff and Knoble are both, pretty charismatic, pretty over, and, getting there. And then we have a fun little match, as in above that decent wrestling, but little heat. Kaz defeats Ken Anderson 625 by pinfall. This gets a 70 overall, which, Kaz is just really good. So basically, fun little back and forth match, but eventually Kaz just begins to kick the shit out of Anderson and gets the big win after, I forgot what his finisher is. He just hits like a quasi-savate kick and knocks Anderson out, as Anderson put over here. Anderson is a young competitor. How he eventually says, in WCW, but when you're facing off against a former cruiserweight champion and a former man who got multiple US title shots like Kaz, it's going to be very tough to defeat him here on Nitro. This gets a 70 overall, which is actually better than expected. Kaz gets a 74, Ken Anderson gets a 43. Fun stuff. Ken Anderson is getting better at his gimmick. And post-match, Kaz is celebrating, but then as Anderson gets up, he just walks over him and gives him a little face wash of a kick. And that gets a 63, and puts over as Kaz as the tequila he is. And then we go backstage, where the Triumvirate and Chosen Few are backstage together. And it's a bit of a mutual admiration society, but eventually, Kidman says, look, just because I'm upset at Midnight Guerrero and O'Hare doesn't mean that I don't forget that for years you had your friends in the back too, Jarrett. So let's go out there, destroy O'Hare and Eddy, but then that's it. Because that top spot that you're looking for is going to belong to me and the rest of the Triumvirate. Jarrett finds that slap nuts. It's right. I don't like O'Hare. I don't like Eddy. But your group is just a bunch of whining at bitches, just like O'Hare and Eddy. So we're fighting together right now, but my man, Simply John and Fine, he's the future of this company. Marching tracks, so is he. And they'll take care of your boring little buddy and your angry little awesome over there without a problem. So let's just team up for now, and then we'll let chips fall where they may. There's a bit of a stare down as they do a sort of stiff handshake between each other as this gets in 87. Fun stuff. Then we backstage where Brother Ray is, cutting promos saying, he's looking forward to fighting whoever puts in front of him because he was born on the streets. He's a street fighter, and no matter what, he'll continue to fight in this ring for what's right and for the fans against whatever morons and idiots try to get in his way. And then over comes Keenan Sharp. Brother Ray, gets ready for a fight, and Sharp no, don't worry. I'm not so gosh, I would get in a fight backstage like this. Come on now. No, I'm giving you an offer, Ray. You see, a man like you've had your glory. You've been a god, but you've been a god in a small religion, an extreme religion. You never followed the true path to become truly great. But if you walk behind me and learn the true path behind me, Brother Ray, you can truly become fit what you need to be, and what you truly want to be deep down. And Ray's like, Sharp, I was in the same company as Ray. You think if you think I'm gonna be fooled by some godly bullshit, come on. I had to deal with Paul Heyman's BS for years. But I'm not gonna follow you, but I'll fight you. And Sharp's like, fine. Couple nights, there's a revolution, and I'll remind you of your proper place. So it gets to be a match for Revolution between Keenan Sharp and Brother Ray. Then we have basically a semi-squash as anybody had a decent match for the crowd, but Support Wrestling wanted to beat Conan and Blitzkrieg. In 557, when James Morris pinned Blitzkrieg with 8-second ride, this gets a 53. So, honestly, this is just basically a quasi-squash. Conan and Blitzkrieg get a little bit of offense in, but this is just all AMW. And overall, Blitzkrieg gets a 47, Conan gets a 36, and both members of the AMW get a 66. And then they take the mic and say, what just happened in this ring was a reminder that we're the best tag team in this business right now. We haven't gotten our shots, and we haven't been given opportunities to prove that, but we want another shot at our titles to bring them back around our waist. And yeah, people are going to think, oh, now that Reno and Cash don't have the titles, now we're going after the new kids on the block, right, in Chavo. But no. If Reno and Cash held the belts, we'd be going after them too, because we got no friends. We have only opponents. And, right, Chavo, you're the champs right now, so sorry about your damn luck. 63, decent promo as we move forward. And we are backstage with Johnny Lawler as, Borash was over, this was a dominant victory for Lawler. But, he just doesn't get why, why she's been so violent and aggressive towards people. And Jody's like, look at the history of women in professional wrestling. For years, we were nothing but in the background. Pretty little faces that were here to get the cheers of the crowd and the attention of the men. We weren't allowed to do anything except stand there and look pretty. And I broke that mold. I was violent. I was aggressive. I made sure my man got what he deserved. Now things ended and I moved on. But what I saw for years, for the last year or so, was a bunch of women who thought they were special because they're actually in this ring. And no, I didn't get involved in women's division at first because I thought it was beneath me. But I realized I had to remind people, I had to prove people I was more than just the world champion's bodyguard. I had to remind people that I reinvigorated women in professional wrestling. And last night, Gail Kim got reminded of her proper place. And I'm going to keep this belt for as long as I damn want to. Decent promo from Yoni as this gets a 69. Nice. And then we have a quick little backstage statement as O'Hare and Palumbo's like, man, O'Hare, Sean, brother, I'm not sure about this. Eddie's been a little off since he came back. He's been a bit of a crazy man. I was like, don't worry, I can handle it. We got Kidman Jarrett. He may not like me at the moment because I'm the champion, but I'm sure he hates Kidman Jarrett more than me. So, I don't need backup. I just needed me and a there to kick some ass. And after that, we'll just handle whatever happens as it happens. Well, that's okay. That's what you mean, want, brother, but I'm still worried. There's like, look, I'm the world champion. Don't worry about it. 70 decent little backstage stuff to, go over some little ambivalence about, Eddie being their tag top, Sean's tag cover tonight as we move forward. Then we had a bout Tetsu per wrestling and great heat that gets a fucking 90. Jeff Hardy defeats Jamie Noble in 1348 by pinfall with a swanton bomb. So just obviously Noble is a heel, but he's also a great wrestler. Jeff Hardy is Jeff Hardy. It doesn't work. He's been mostly clean. So, you can just imagine, lots of high-flying moves, Noble doing his technical stuff, maybe some, bullying, Ebony Noble getting involved, Ebony Sable getting involved, but Jeff Hardy coming back. And I sort of imagine, Ebony Sable trying to interfere, Noble dropping him off to the top, Noble, going after Hardy, Noble getting out of the way, Whisper in the Wind, Twist of Fate, go up top, big swanton bomb, 1, 2, 3 victory for Jeff Hardy. Like I said, this gets a 90, Noble gets an 81, Jeff Hardy gets a 90, good stuff. And yeah, honestly, Hardy's been sort of out of the storylines for the past couple, for basically most of this cycle. So wanted to bring him back on TV with a big win. And Noble can afford the job because, honestly, he's close to being a top level heel, but he's not quite there yet. And I've got ways, to deal with that. But this gets a 90 and good stuff. And of course, post-match, Ebony goes after Hardy. But again, Hardy gets out of the way, sends him over the top rope, then hits a huge dive over him, and stands tall as the crowd cheers as this gets a 74. And then we have ouch. Yeah, I forget sometimes I need to really need to really script deal Skipper. Anyway, Skipper cuts a quick promo where he says, he's proven he's the king of the cruiserweights. He's the best cruiserweight champion of his era, and he's completely unstoppable because he's prime time, and everybody else is not close to his level. 34, not a good promo, but it's the Skipper in 2004, not exactly cutting fire promos, unfortunately. Then you have, in our semi-main event, in a good match, Dean Malenko defends his US title, defeating Lance Storm in 7:52 by submission with the Texas Closer Relief, as Malenko makes defense number 2 of his World Television title. This gets a 78. And yeah, Malenko hasn't been on TV in a couple of weeks, because I wanted to put over, the end of the Quasi Horseman, and also because there just hasn't been TV time for the TV champion, which I know is kind of silly, but what can you do? But imagine a Dean Malenko Lance Storm match in your head, and that's exactly that. Malenko gets a bit of advantage, gets the Texas Closer Relief, and Lance Storm has to submit. Dean Malenko gets a 62, Lance Storm gets an 83, and a big victory from Malenko. Storm was a little unhappy about doing the job here, so I just had to keep him strong, which I had on Lance Storm. I can't, but oh well. Malenko gets the big one here. And Malenko celebrates to a 47, because, well, it's Malenko trying to be charismatic. What can you do? Then we have a quick graphic where Prince Osei is now in America, and he will make his debut on Revolution. And as you imagine, this gets 16, because if he's not over in America, he's really not over in England, but still want to do a quick little, basically graphic to put him over. And now it's time for our main event, I believe. Yeah, there we go. That's exactly what I want from this match. As in a bout at superb wrestling and great heat, Sean O'Haire and Eddy Guerrero defeats Billy Kidman and Jeff Jarrett in 1810 when O'Haire pins Billy Kidman with a Widowmaker. So, this is sort of, exactly sort of the big star tag team main event you'd think. Eddie is able to hit suplexes, big dives, does some brawling. Kidman does his cheatery. Kidman and Jarrett, I'm sure, do back-to-back cheating, and then, both sort of fight a little bit, trying to be the one who gets the pinfall victory, which allows the babyfaces to make a comeback. O'Haire eventually gets a hot tag, runs over people with suplexes and slams. Eddie tags himself in, does some brawling of his own. Frog splash late, but Jarrett makes a save for Kidman. O'Haire comes in and just wallops Kidman himself. Things break down, and eventually Sean O'Haire grabs Kidman, Widowmaker, 1, 2, 3, right in the middle of the ring. This gets a 96 overall. Eddie gets an 88. O'Haire gets an 86. Jarrett gets a 95. Kidman gets a 91. Is there anything that actually hurt this match? I imagine not. Inconsistency, but yeah, that's no big deal. And then post-match, Kidman and Jarrett sort of sling off to the back. Baby faces, are both raising arms for the cheer of the crowd. And Guerrero taps O'Haire on the back. O'Haire turns around, kick to the gut, brainbuster out of nowhere. Mixed pot for that, and then Eddie rolls out of the ring, makes a towboat motions, and walks away, as this gets an 84. Fun times, fun times. And overall, the match itself, the show itself gets a 93, so really solid show. And back in just a moment. Okay, so let's check the mail, nothing, I mean, Kidman wrestled twice in 2 nights, come on. Let's see here, nothing really of note. Again, I'm not showing you guys WWE results at the moment because I'm doing the booking for them in the lead up to SummerSlam. So, go over the actual SummerSlam show. But let's see, look here. Anything interesting on the Japanese indies? Not really. I mean, Scott Norton doesn't have a job. That's interesting. But other than that, yeah, not much. Not much. Hiro Sato. I mean, interesting. Those are like 3 undercard New Japan guys and Toriano. So, yeah. Let me see here. New Japan is doing New Japan things. But, yeah, beyond that, nothing too exciting. So I'll be back in just a moment with Revolution. And now it's time for Revolution. We start off with Brother Ray and Keenan Sharp already rolling down to the ring as the entrepreneur fact that we got a chaotic beginning to Revolution as we're in Connecticut at the XL Center in Hartford, Connecticut. We're back in the US on the road to Fall Brawl, and these 2 guys are now fighting down to the ring as the match starts, as this gets a 68. And now on to the actual match. As in a decent match, Keenan Sharp defeats Brother Ray 805 by pinfall. It says illegally using the notice for pin by pinfall, which gets a 53. But really, what happens here is basically Keenan Sharp, uses his technical skills to keep Brother Ray down. Ray rolls back. Eventually, Brother Ray goes after Sharp with a chair. Sharp actually hits a low blow on him, rolls him up, holds the tights. 1, 2, 3. Gets the quick win, as it gets a 53 since they don't click, which is unfortunate. As Brother Ray gets a 62, Keenan Sharp gets a 59. And then Sharp gets out of there before Brother Ray can recover, as that gets a 65, and move forward. Unfortunately, this little mini feud I was going to try to do probably is now dead because they don't click, but, we'll figure something out. Anyway, moving on. We then have Eric Bischoff coming down to the ring. He says, I understand this is professional wrestling, and there's lots of people with lots of egos and tempers, and sometimes you have to give people a light touch. But week after week, I have to hear about how people are being held down, how they're not getting what they deserve, and everything else. And usually, I let it fly off my back, since I have one of the most successful wrestling companies in the world, and I've got 1,000 people coming to the ring every week. But, after Nitro, I think I need to give people some chances to prove themselves if they're really being held down. So, tonight at Revolution, Jeff Jarrett, you're upset about getting a chance at a title shot? Well, here we go. Tonight, you and the rest of the Chosen Few will face Jeff Hardy and the Hart Legacy in a 6-man tag. Let's see if your group is actually the new elite in professional wrestling, or you're just a bunch of jackasses. And next up, Mike Awesome, Billy Kidman, Lance Storm. Want to talk about how you've been here so long, you're great technical wrestlers, you're great brawlers. Well, again, let's prove it. Mike Awesome, Lance Storm, your former tag team champions. Let's have you face off a guy who almost just got a world title, Ruby Jr., Rod Van Dam, and one of the best cruiserweights of the era, and a 2-time former U.S. champion, Rey Mysterio Jr. They team before, I'm sure they'll be great together, and hey, if you're so great, you can just defeat them and prove that you actually deserve to be in the main event. That's it for now. Hope you guys enjoy the show. So Bischoff lays down a lot here and sets up some big matches. Honestly, backstage note, I have some feuds to set up, and I just couldn't quite get a good way to figure out some of them. So this is sort of like, sometimes you just gotta set up random matches to set up random matches. This gets to 74 as we move forward. As we go backstage, where Jeremy Borash is with the new tag team champion of the world, try to catch out over Jr. Borash says, lots of teams have been calling out and, won't want a chance at you. And Wright's like, look, we fought a long time to get these tag titles, and they're not coming off our ways for a long time. So anybody who wants a chance at us, just go talk to Bischoff and earn your title shot. AMW, Hart Legacy, Rio and Cash, Roman Legion, whoever think they deserve a shot at us, well, prove you deserve it, and we'll prove why we're the tag team champions. And Boris asks Chavo about what Eddie did, and Chavo's like, look, we grows, we have a temper, and sometimes we can go off the handle a little quickly. I'm sure Eddie has a good explanation for it. I haven't talked to him, but I'm sure on Nitro he'll have an explanation for why he did it. And then he walk away as this gets a 70. Then we have Prince Osei's debut as we see a long red carpet, and then an expensive sort of like Rolls Royce coming down to the ring. A bunch of servants, chauffeurs opening the door, and Prince Osei coming out in his finery down to the ring for his debut here in World Championship Wrestling as it gets a 46. And then in his debut match, Prince Osei defeated Finley in 416 by pinfall with a butterfly suplex. I'll figure out what his actual finisher is. Just a quasi squash here as Finley gets a little bit of brawling in, but Osei takes advantage and then hits a few big moves in a row to get the pinfall victory and makes his successful debut here in WCW as this gets a 43. Prince Osei gets a 49, which isn't bad. Finley gets a 46. Fun stuff. And then Osei celebrates to a 43. Then we go backstage where Rob Van Dam is backstage and runs into Booker T, and there's a quick stare down as Rob Van Dam says, you look a little different, bro, without that world title around your waist. And Booker's like, well, Saka, I'm just happy you didn't take the belt off me. And Van Dam says, well, I'm just happy you don't have that world title around your waist anymore, Booker, and I mean, he deserves that, has that title. Booker says, Saka, I'm a 6-time Rob Van Dam. No, I've heard it enough. You beat me. I'm doing my own thing, but I'm just happy I don't have to hear you talking every single week about how you're the greatest wrestler in the company because O'Hare just proved you aren't. Where it says, Saka, we'll just have to see about that. And there's an 83 as we move forward on that little segment. And then Brother Ray is angry as he just is running around backstage and quick little basically 15 seconds space where first he runs into Jordan Cole and Cole just sort of points that way to where King Sharp was. Then he finds Yang, and Yang is just sort of looks blankly at him, and then he runs into Ray LePen, who's LePen's I do not know where this King Sharp is, and why would I even answer a disgusting brute? And then he just gets punched and thrown to the side of the wall as Ray walks away. As this gets a 53. And then we have a quick little quasi-squash match as Yoshihiro Tajiri, your United States champion, defeats Reno in 727 by pinfall with a brainbuster. This gets a 70, and this is it's not quite as squash as Reno gets his power offense in, but Reno is, he's a former tag team champion who gets shot in, but Tajiri's, the United States champion for a reason, and he believes the big pinfall victory over Reno fairly easily and fairly not quickly, but fairly cleanly with the brainbuster after Reno was for sort of what is it called? Running power slam. Tajiri slips out of it, hits the mist, hits the buzzsaw kick, picks him up, a brainbuster, 1, 2, 3. Big victory for Tajiri. And Tajiri celebrates afterwards to a 68. Fun stuff. And I don't think I said it, but Tajiri gets 74, Reno gets 70. So Reno's despite this is a year after he retired in real life because he just left the business because a lot of those there's a lot of people who were either in WWE developmental or WWE near the end who just left the business because there weren't enough spots for them and they weren't the right type for the sort of rising indie scene, but they still get to hang around and keep drops. But it's a solid match as Yuri gets the win and celebrates. And then we see Robert Van Dam walk in the Ray locker room and he's like, man, Booker T's still an asshole. Ray sort of laughs and says, oh, I'm sure. And he says, look, I don't know why Bischoff made us a team tonight, but we're friends, we're great wrestlers, and let's show Awesome the Storm why we deserve our shot at the top, and they're just whiny assholes. And our friend says, I got no problem with that, man. So let's just chill out and then go out there and kick some ass. And they shake hands, and there we go. Fun little babyface segment there as this gets an 86, as these guys are really freaking over. And then we have the Shane Helms show, starting Shane Helms with Shane Helms, as Shane Helms comes out to the boos of the crowd, and he still has his arm sling, and he calls out his guest for tonight, Chuck Palumbo. Palumbo comes up to the cheers of the crowd as he comes out to the ring, and he just sort of stands offish because why am I stuck with you, Helms? And I was as the greatest women's champion of all time, it's always great to talk to men who weren't as good champions as I was. And Palumbo just sort of rolls his eyes and says, yeah, you're great, blah, blah, blah. What do you want, Helms? Well, why I want to talk to you, Chuck, is pretty simple. Why are you letting yourself be? Why are you letting yourself being O'Hara's lapdog? Boos from the crowd. Look, you're not as great as me, but you're a talented wrestler, and you could be world champion. But you're fine being Sean O'Hara's Brutus Beefcake. Boo. You're fine being his little buddy, his little sidekick. All well, you're getting your ass kicked. Like, how many times did Macias beat you up while O'Hara was fighting with him? How many times did you end up on the business end of a beatdown from whoever O'Hara got pissed off at him? And Puma was like, look, me and O'Hara, we rose up in this business together. Every little house show, every Nitro, every Thunder, we worked together. And now we're at the top of this business. Yeah, right now Sean O'Hara's champion, and I'm proud of him. But I want to be world champion too. And I was like, well, you sure as hell want to be champion as long as you aren't aggressive and actually want to be champion. And Puma sort of like stands up, you want to be aggressive a little bit? You're one speaking to me while you're in a sling, and you can't do anything about it. Look, Helms, I know what you're trying to do, and I'm not that dumb. Me and O'Hara have walked the road together, and we're continuing to walk the road because we're brothers. And yeah, there might be a future where we face off, but we'll face off as competitors, not enemies, and more importantly, he's a world champion, I'll be a world champion before you as well. And as we see about that. Well, thank you for being part of the Shane Helms show, starting Shane Helms with Shane Helms, and Plum was like, yeah, it was fantastic. But then, as Palumbo is turning to walk away, Helms backs up for a second, and as Helms, Palumbo turns back around, super kick, out of nowhere. As Helms, takes off his little sling and just kicks the crap out of Palumbo in the ring before WCW officials run down. It looks like Shane Helms has recovered from his injuries, and he's decided to attack Chuck Palumbo, as this gets a 93. And then, the same video, there's basically the pay-per-view with the message showing, videos of Morningstar and Macias do it, Morningstar and Macias thing, and saying the message has survived and we'll have a new, and we'll return soon. 68 just has a little quick little video. As we move forward, as Kidman is backstage with Austin Storm, and he says, look, tonight we can prove Bischoff wrong, Mysterio wrong, Van Dam wrong, and all those idiots in the crowd. Remember, we're together for one reason. That's to get back to the top where we belong. So go out there and remind them, Lance, why one time you held every belt but the world title. Remind them, Mike, why you were the king of extreme. Go out there and destroy. As it gets an 83, as a little heel hypo promo as we move forward. With our semi-main event, which is a really good match. As an about good wrestling and decent reaction from the crowd, Jeff Hardy and the Hart Legacy defeated the Chosen Few of Jarrett, Mark and Dragon, Split John Divine in 12:52 when Jarrett pinned Mark and Dragon with a Swanton Bomb. So back and forth match as you can expect. Jarrett gets the advantage, doing heel tactics. Evans and Teddy Hart do Evans and Teddy Hart stuff, flying all around. Jindrak does some power moves. Divine does some cheap heel tactics while taking some high flying moves of his own. There are some fun little segments between Divine and Hardy and the rest of the Hart Legacy, but eventually, things break down to, just a pure 6 brawl, and it looks like, Jarrett is going to get the win with the stroke, but Jeff Hardy hits him with the big Hardy style leg drop to make the save. Eventually, Jindrak's in the ring. Twist of fate, up top, Swanton Bomb, 1, 2, 3, and a big victory for the babyfaces as this gets an 85. Jack Evans gets a 77, Teddy Hart gets a 55, Jeff Hardy gets a 91, Divine gets a 59, Mark Jindrak gets a 74, and Jeff Jarrett gets a 91. And then post-match, the babyface celebrate to a 69. Fun stuff. Then we go backstage where Jonathan Toro is with the rest of the Roman Legion, and he says, in the UK, the former Britannia, and will be Britannia once again, the Roman Legion proved we are the empire in professional wrestling by defeating a legend like Rey Mysterio Jr. And Bazans, my friends, my Romans, my countrymen, together, me and the rest of the Roman Legion will cause chaos and destruction and bring back the empire to its rightful place, no matter who gets in our way. 76, good promo, especially, Considering, Torres is slowly getting over, got the big win over Ray Jr., and he's getting there, and he has another big match coming up in the next couple of weeks, which I'll set up fairly soon. But yeah, 76 is a actually solidly really good promo. And then we have Gil Kim backstage as she says, I heard Lawler talking about, she made women's wrestling and all that other BS that she's spewing. And here's reality. I'm not some 20-year-old kid who's barely been in this business, okay? Yeah. You were a positive force at a time, Joni. But you ran away to do whatever you wanted to do in Hollywood. And you came back to wrestling as Kingman's bodyguard. And you stood by while the rest of us women made this division worth something. While other companies are now having a bunch of blondes doing lingerie matches, every single woman in this company, including the ones I don't like, have done their damnedest to make this a division worth something. So if you want to think that you're just going to walk in and rule things just because you got a big pop in front of a crowd in 1998, you've got another thing going. Yes. In London, I wasn't ready for your Joni, but next time around, I will be. And that's why I talked to Bischoff, and I'm getting my rematch at Fall Brawl. And I'm going to remind you there why I'm the head bitch in charge of WCW. We've got our second match for Fall Brawl. As yes, it's Gail Kim getting her rematch for the Women's World title. Fun stuff. And yeah, good promo. Helped by the fact that I used Joni Lawler off screen, which gave us some overness, but still solid stuff. And then it's time for our main event. As an about to hit that superb wrestling and great heat, Rey Mysterio Jr. and Rob Van Dam defeats Awesome Storm in 1658 when Ray Jr. defeats Lance Storm with the Springboard Hurricane. This gets an 89 because all these guys are great, actually pretty good wrestlers. As RVD gets a 93, Ray gets an 83, Awesome gets an 85, Lance Storm gets an 87. So, I mean, again, it's the sort of match you expect. Like RVD, Ray flying all over, playing Beavis and Perro, RVD in the hot tag, doing his Rolling Thunders, his big flipping dives, some educated kicks, Storm, trying to keep Ray Jr. down in holds, but Ray Jr. fighting out of it. Awesome, eventually being the heel powerhouse. Awesome RVD brawling, maybe I'm going to say there's likely a table swap because it's, Mike Awesome and RVD. Awesome tries to hit Rob Dam, Awesome with the Van Dam, but Awesome is ready for him and brings him. Ray Jr. hits a big dive out on Awesome. Things eventually break down. And in the end, huge springboard hurricane on Storm out of nowhere eventually for the big 1-2-3 victory for the babyfaces. But of course, this isn't over yet. As afterwards, as Ray Jr. is celebrating, Mike Awesome attacks him from behind because it's Mike Awesome, and big Awesome bomb to the outside on Ray Jr. as he sells it like only Ray Jr. can. And RVD is, as Rob Van Dam, basically turns around to go back to the ring. Out of nowhere, Booker T attacks from behind, like basically doing a quick drop off him and beat him down to end the show with Booker with his arms raised over Rob Van Dam. As it seems, these former friends turned enemies are back in each other's business once again. And overall, this gets an 81. Again, only 4 minutes. Probably could have done a little longer, but that would have been like a little unrealistic, so I'll take the hit here. As this gets an 87. Okay, still, not bad at all. Alright, and now we're back to the show, and yeah, nothing interesting in the mail. Brother Ray and Merchant Jack will some time off, which is understandable. I forget, does the game do that because it's also overseas, so that travel? I forget. Anyway, so as a quick check as far as storylines and such, well, actually don't do that because there's spoilers for the actual storylines. So, yeah, actually, let's just go over the previous stuff going on. Again, not going to show you guys WE just because I'm booking that at the moment. Signing up SummerSlam, which will be the next video. Because it's the twice yearly tradition I do where I go in and book the big pay-per-views for the WWE just so they make sense and actually push some new people. But anyway, so going over to the other stuff that I know you guys enjoy. So we got OVW. Well, first let's go to NW Wildside. So Wildside TV. We had let's see here. Killswitch defeating Bobby Lashley in 54, Cassie O'Reilly defeating Matt Cross in 59, and Rothschild and Jimmy Ray defeating Lazarus and Shane Balor in 63. Then on our weekly house show, we had Lazarus defeating Jacobs for the Georgia Junior Heavyweight Champion, Rothschild defeating Keith Walker, TNT The Vanguard, which is Adam Ortiz and JC Daz, sure. Jamie Ray defeating Tony Jones in a 58. Kai Gray's Our Region defeating Chance Profit in a 60. Travis Tomko, Trevor Rhodes, and Stone Mountain. That's 3 big guys defeating Rambola, Miltech, and McMichaels in a 55. And Kento Suzuki defeating Bobby Lashley in a 33. Wow. Anyway, then if we look at our women's Dev Fed, and somebody mentioned in the comments why I'm not putting the women's Fed on our networks that I created. Basically, the WCW, the WCW network I created is just basically because getting the show canceled because I did 284s when 85 is my goal is just sort of silly. So, and I don't want to deal with not having TV for a year in the US for Revolution, so I just sort of that as a sideways. So it's not something like actually existing, it's just sort of something that's there. But a weekly show for AWQ. Let's see here. Beth Phoenix defeated Mischief in a 40-51, rather. Bonnie Maxon defeated 99 Hart in a 51. Only Hoska defeated Allison Danger by DQ in a 55. And Anti-Authority of Desire and Lacey defeated Amy Social and Nikki Rocks in a 54 to retain the tag titles. And then if we go to the WWE's Dev Fed, we have Heartland. We have Scan and Ivan and Corey Castovy, Dustin Lee, and John Cena in a 36. Yes, we live in a world where of 4 wrestlers, John Cena is barely getting a better rating than Corey Castle. Okay. Rocky Romero defeated Jimmy Jacobs in a 43. Fun times. Alex Shelley, Matt Catelli, and Sharkboy defeated Andy Douglas and Club Deluxe, which is, I think, Billy Rail and Insane Dragon. Okay. And then Excalibur defeated Chuck Clare to retain the AWTV title in a 49. Then Ekmo and Grunge defeated Scott Vick and Russ Haas by DQ in a 51, and Max Brecker defeated Danny Dory for the HWA title in a 57. Fun times. Then we go to OVW. Jamie Keys defeated Evelyn Chambers, who's a regen, in a 42. Mitch Page defeated Too Tough Tony. Chris Ricky Reed defeated Miss Nashville to retain the Diva title in a 53. Bull Buchanan defeats Steve Bradley in a 52. Spanking Homicide defeats Joy Ryan by DQ. And Justice Reed Rico in a 65. Interesting. Okay. Fun times. Anyway. Some interesting news about people walking out and such, which is interesting. Anyway, sorry, got distracted by that. Anyway, so that's our show for now. Again, this is up a little bit later than normal, just because honestly, we're a little under the weather, so I didn't get time to make it. So, but hopefully, it's only like just later on Friday. Again, Monday we'll have SummerSlam, then it'll be September, and the road to Fall Brawl will continue. But hope you enjoyed this. If you have, go and give it a like. Comment below when you're liking and not liking, and of course, subscribe to the channel for lots of TEW 2020 content, including this series, and hopefully other series pretty soon. But that's all for now, so talk later, and adios. Have a good one.